Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joyce Starks, and I'm with the League of Women Voters of Prince George's County. The League has been conducting forums for a number of years. They were the first organization that gave women the right to vote. So we not only do candidate forums, we also do a lot of voter registration. So I'll get started by stating that each candidate received a form in which she filled out that said that they recognized that tonight there was going to be a candidate forum. They signed it and they returned it back. Some of the ground rules before we get started. In the beginning, each candidate will be given 2 minutes for opening statements, and you will also be given 2 minutes for the closing statements. To answer questions, you will be given 1 minute. With me is Ms. Paulette Fox Dawudu, and she's the timekeeper. She will be flashing the 30 minutes when you have 30 minutes left. She will flash when you have 15 minutes left. Seconds, sorry. Sorry. She will flash when you have 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left, and when to stop. Hopefully we won't have to interrupt your speaking, but that you will abide by the rules and regulations that's set. Questions may not all be asked because of time constraints. I will not be doing more than 15 questions. The timing has been set from 7 to 9, and we will abide by those time limits. You cannot debate. This is not a debate. This is a candidate forum. So when your turn comes, you are only to speak when it is your turn. You cannot go back and reference something somebody else said. We don't do that in a candidate forum. This is not a debate, I repeat. Do you have any questions thus far? Okay. I will ask now that you turn off all cell phones. All cell phones are to be turned off. You are not to record this section. We have this section with professional recorders. You're not permitted to record individually. Are there any questions about that? No? Okay, so the way that it works is that I'm glad to see that no one has any paraphernalia as it relates to your candidacy, because we would not be able to allow you to stay in the room. So I'm happy about that. Please refrain from applauding. You're not to applaud after a candidate speaks. All applause will be held at the end. You can applaud everybody. Okay? I think we're good. I think that we're ready to go. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go with the first question. You ready? What is your vision or strategic plan for economic development in our community? And I will ask that question with, I'll start with Elise.
Okay. Can you say the question one more time, please?
Okay. And you are permitted to ask me to state it over. What is your vision or your strategic plan for economic development in our community? And if you don't understand the question, I'll be glad to explain it further.
Explain it
Just a little bit further? Okay. Normally in the town, you have a budget. And within that budget, folks are looking for development. And you call that job security, job research, planning for events. In other words, they're asking you, what would your plan be? If you would just run the town yourself, what would your plan be for running the town yourself?
Okay. I would love to see a community center brought on so that the youth would be able to do things. I would love to see maybe a grocery store, some hotels, more housing. I would love to see the houses that are run down brought up and refurbished. And I would love to see the school that was a school in the town become the community center or something for the youth.
Okay, thank you. The same question to Patricia, please.
Good evening. My vision is to have every vacant property rehabbed and filled. I also would like for us to be sustainable within ourselves. Also would like to see Sheriff Road back to where it used to be with businesses and just a flourishing community all within itself. I'd like to see that come back again.
Okay. Patricia, number two.
I envision an economic plan for the community that would deliver wraparound services, community services, and constituent engagement. We have 2 large parcels of parkland that could be developed into commercial space. So I'd like to see a Main Street on Sheriff Road, but I'd like to see portions of that development as wraparound community deliverable, wherein it's a park and it's a development for homes and it's development for commercial strips as well. I think that we should take the space that we have here and deliver more homes. And I really think that the municipal center should be on the front side, on the face Sheriff Addison Road of our community, so sort of part of Main Street. I'd like to see our development or our community being developed or defined as a gateway community in Prince George's County, and I would like to see some of the $1.5 billion that we were awarded allocated to our community.
Okay, thank you. There's a request, and the request is if you could move your mic just a little closer in, because I think you have a standing ovation outside, and they want to hear too. So let's go with, I can't see. Is it Stella?
It's Stella, yes it is.
Testing,
Okay.
testing.
My vision for this community is to, I'm an investor in this community. I chose to come here. I chose to live here because I see the vision that this community could have. I would like to, right now we have 21 vacant rentals, 34 vacant homes, and I'm sorry, 45 vacant homes and 34 vacant lots. That is pulling down. It's not given to us. It's not given to our, it's not given to our ability to do things. So that's a loss in revenue that we have. Mm-hmm. If we could bring those homes and those vacant lots to livable conditions, and then that would also improve our time is going so fast, improve our base. So for me, I would like to see those things happen first. I would also like to see, in order to do those things,
Complete your sentence.
in order to do those things, we need to, we talk about grants, we talk about things like that. We need to bring the homeowners in and show them how they could use that property to make it livable again and to make it accessible to other people.
Okay, thank you. Is Lily?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I would like to definitely capitalize on our areas for the Sheriff Road corridor. I think that is my #1 priority as far as economic development, because for the longest kind of time we've had the vision that that could be a viable main street for us. It's an area where, coming from the District of Columbia, coming right down into Prince George's County, we must have that area developed because it's going to be our base and it will be something that's going to be beneficial to our community as a whole.
Okay. Mr. Cooks?
Good evening. What I would like to see is for the town of Fairmount Heights to actually venture into annexation. This is something that I've been looking at for years. I think it would increase our financial base, which is what we really need. We need to expand and grow. And I think that with annexation would come a lot of other things like opportunities for us to build. Because right now I don't see a lot of land available for us to build, like stores or maybe something like a post office or something like that that would generate some funds for the town. So all in all, if I had my brothers, I would love to see, and I'd fight very hard to make that happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Glenn?
Good evening. What I would like to see for the town of Fairmount Heights, I'm a 4th-generation resident, born and raised and graduated here in Fairmount Heights, and I moved out and moved back in 2 years ago to a neighborhood that I don't even recognize. The town right now is in a condition unlike my childhood. So for the economic development, I want to go back through the town where the generational families have left, died off, or left property to their children and find out who's doing what with the vacant properties, who's leaving their house to just wither away. Find out what can be taken back by the town and then redevelop into new housing.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the next question. I'm going to start with Lillian. Okay. What inspired you to pursue public office? And what do you think qualifies you for the office you're seeking?
Yes, I was inspired to seek public office from my next door neighbor. He came to me one day and he said, we must do something to benefit our community. He was a carrier, United States Postal carrier, and he got up every morning going out to work. He was really a good neighbor, and we sort of looked upon him as a father figure. He said, let's start going to meetings. And it started with a civic association, and from there it was the first female mayor, Mayor Brown, that called me in and said, we need your help. This town needs people, young people. I was in my 30s, and she said, we need your help. You're a good worker, come on and help. And then from one thing led to another. That's how I got inspired to be involved in the community, and I've been involved for that period of time ever since.
Okay, great.
So I definitely have the experience that goes along with it, but a lot of other combination of qualities that would make me a good candidate for the job.
Okay. Ronald? Ronald?
She can, you next, I finished it.
Oh. You need the question again?
Yes, please.
Okay. What inspired you to pursue public office? And what do you think qualifies you for the office you're seeking?
Well, first of all, I'm a lifelong resident of the town of Fairmount Heights. My father and mother came out of the Deep South, escaping Jim Crow back in the 30s. And they came up, his sister first, and then he followed her on and married my mother and brought her on up. I've been here my entire life, and I've seen quite a few things happen here. And as you all know, Fairmount Heights is a totally black historic town. We had quite a few people who used to live here were very, very prominent people. Like we had I think it was out there in the hallway, it's still out there, as a picture and things showing exactly what all of that was about. But the bottom line is I got involved in it through someone else who was involved in it, and they talked me into it. Why don't you, you make a good person to help make things happen around here. You want to continue to do things the right way, and you're someone we can depend on. And so I listened to her for a while, and I said, well, why not? And I got involved, and I was elected to the council. And then from there, prior to that, though, I was on the Civic Association as a president for 5 years. After that, I became the mayor of the town. I was the 12th mayor of the town of Fairmount Heights. Okay. And it just moved from there, one thing to the next. So right now, I would like to continue to be, active in the town and be able to be a part of making things better for every man, woman, and child.
Thank you so much.
I'm running for office.
Glenn?
Thank you.
I've been in management my whole career. I have witnessed a lot of things going on in the town. I had a personal situation on my street with parking, and after working with the town and council for 8 months and not getting anything done, I petitioned all of the council to see who was running for mayor, and they said, don't complain about change unless you're going to be part of the change. So I decided to run to give my input and to make sure that the residents of Fairmount Heights can have pride in their town again.
Okay. Denise?
Yes. Actually, my husband encouraged me to run for council, and some people in the community, they said because my ideas that I'm having, maybe I could give them to the town. So I said, okay, I will go ahead and try and become a council person and see if I could make change. And when I was here as a council person, change had started being made. And I'm proud of that.
Okay, great. Patricia?
My story is almost familiar with Mrs. Saunders. I am an invested 20-year resident of Fairmount Heights, and I had an ordinance problem. And funny thing is, but my husband was the code enforcement officer. And I was complaining, and a very wise former councilwoman, well, she had a question. She said, you either want to be part of the problem or you be part of the solution. So I decided to be part of the solution.
Okay, Patricia.
I got involved some time ago. I've been living here for 48 years, and I was doing a lot of community service work in the District of Columbia, in the area of Northeast Trinidad, Washington, D.C. And I used to help now Councilmember Wood Dodson with a lot of things that she was doing for the seniors. And I got to a point where I was doing a lot of community service over there, a lot of leadership initiatives, and realized that I wasn't doing anything in my own community. So in my help with her, I decided to run, her recommendation, and coming to meetings, decided that I would run for council, served 2 terms, and when Mayor Martin was going out for a season and wanted to see that things that were already in place, there was a succession plan in place, her and I talked about continuing things on, for the community, and I decided to run for mayor. So I've always been a community active person working for the constituents, seeing that things are done and different activities or engagement deliverables. So that's my passion.
Thank you. Okay, Stella?
For me, it started with a problem. I just moved into this 106-year-old house. I was doing the yard work, trying to get everything together. I came home from work one day, and there was They actually dumped furniture, trash, and everything in my alleyway. From that point on, I came around here. I'm like, where's this town hall? I just bought this house, So that's how I got involved. I came here. I filled out the paperwork to make a complaint. They came around and cleaned the alleyway. From that point, I started coming to the meetings. Once I started coming to the meetings, I got involved in historic preservation, which is my passion, green team, code enforcement, and I just kept going on from there. Then the time came open to run for council, and I was asked to run. I didn't think I was ready to run. I gave it a run. I lost the first bid. I came back. I still stayed active and remained active in the community, and I ran again for council, and I made the council. So that was how I got involved.
Okay, thank you. The next question. Why should the citizens trust you with running this town? And what if elected during this campaign, what are your promised transparency and integrity? I'll repeat it. What should the citizens trust you with as it relates to this town, Fairmount Heights? And if elected in this campaign, what are your promises for transparency and integrity? Okay, let's start that question with Patricia number one.
Well, one thing I can say, I promise to keep you in the black. My vote will always keep us in the black. And as far as transparency goes, everybody who knows me does know that I'm an open book. I feel there's nothing that a citizen cannot come in here, ask, find out, research, anything they feel that they need to know or they want to know. And if you need me to help you, I'm there to help you find it out.
Okay, thank you. Patricia number two.
They seem to go in sequence. In terms of transparency, I believe in serving as an example. As council person and/or mayor, I've always, tried to make certain. Again, it's always about the citizens and the needs of the citizens. So that's my assessment. What are the needs of the citizens, and to work to do that. To deliver some of the activities that we need. To do an assessment of the services that are in place. Emergency management and things like that. In terms of integrity, I just believe in the investment that our constituents have made in this community, and I think they should have a return on their investment, in their properties, the tax dollars that they're spending and so forth. The return on their investment, if you put something in, you expect to get something out, and that's my dedication, that's my deliverable.
Thank you. Stella?
Why should you trust me? I believe that the town should always come first. I believe that the citizens should also know what decisions are being made. That's why I encourage our members to come out and be here, hear what's going on, because if you're not here, the decisions are made and you don't have a say in that. So I always believe that we should do that first. Why should you trust me? I think my ability to lead, to organize, and my ability to build relationships and partnerships with other communities can bring opportunities to this community that we need.
Okay. Lillian?
Yeah. Why should I be trusted to hold the position? Because of the fact that my experience has taught me that being truthful and holding an honest line and making things work on a progressive level for this town is the working way to do it. And the residents and anyone who can look from the outside can see there has been the scandals. When I'm here, the scandals, nothing negative comes out for the town. We just only moving for the positive aspect and keeping the town like a well-oiled machine.
Okay. Thank you. Ronald?
Well, my idea is that if you're not a part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. And I have a track record, and that's something that a lot of people don't have. of excellence where things have been accomplished here. Maybe not in some of the best of times, but I was always there. I'd never run away from anything. I'll stand and defend for this town and its citizens here. And I feel that honesty and integrity, my dad always said, without that, you're nothing. So from what I've seen in my lifetime and what he taught me and things that I learned from other people in the community, you can't fake it till you make it. You have to be real about this. It's something you really want to do, and you're really ready to make a sacrifice to do it, because there's going to be a lot of times that you're going to have to go and do things maybe you don't want to do. You want to go somewhere else. But this is what this is all about. Sacrificing for the town of Fairmount Heights and the citizens here so that we all can move forward together. And as far as the council is concerned, it has to be unity there. I always used to say, what is the pleasure of the council when I was mayor? And that way we can find out which way we're going to go with this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Glenn?
Restate the question.
Okay. The question is, why should the citizens trust you with running the town of Fairmount Heights? And during your campaign, what are your promises as far as transparency and integrity?
Okay, why they should trust me, I have run campaigns on the state and county level. I've been integral parts of them, candidates that are in office now. And I bring me here to Fairmount Heights to share that knowledge and also to show the transparency and to make sure that all the residents are inclusive of everything that's going on. I, as a resident, have not had that transparency shown to me over the last 8 months. So I am here for the residents like me that would come to the town and the council to have problems resolved and to make sure that they're educated and aware of all the options that they have afforded to them.
Okay. Elise?
Yes, for me, I bring honesty, helpfulness, reliability to the citizens, and whatever they need of me or ask of me, I'll be able to give. And I love the town and I want to see the town flourish. So if I flourish, my citizens should flourish also.
Okay. Patricia? One.
I didn't answer that question.
Yes.
I answered that question.
They were first.
You were the first one. Okay. Next question. Okay. If elected, what do you plan to do in the first 90 days? Name the top 3 items. We're going to start with Ronald.
First thing I would do is sit down with the council and the mayor and put forth a plan. That would be where we want to go and how we want to get there, and what we want to do about some of the issues that we have. And one of them is finances. That we have got to expand on the amount of monies that's coming into the town. There are things that we can do. For one, we could use some cameras in the town that would generate some funding, and there are other things. But the main thing is that whatever we do, we need to do it together. Sit down and work it out together. It's always unity. That's what it's all about. Thank you.
Okay, Glenn.
I would start with the full audit of the town to find out where all the money is coming in from, where it's going, and then have allocated spending so that everything we spend comes out of a dedicated budget, so that everybody can know what money they have to spend and not spending other money from other places, and then we end up short in the end. The next thing I would do, the second thing I would do is to start a town newsletter where all the residents can get the information that we're sharing on the TV station and that we're doing in the public meetings. For the people that can't get here, they would be aware of what's going on. The third thing is I would sit with the town and the mayor and the council and find out where the revenue streams are that we're missing. Where can we go get revenue? What are grants are available? Where are the help from the county? Right now, I don't see a lot of county usage that could be made to beautify this town.
Okay. Alicia?
Yes, I would first work with the council on any and everything that we need to do at the first meeting to iron out all our differences, and let's work together and talk about, you know, what we need to do further in the town and with the town's money. I would help with the budgeting of how we would allocate different funds and where they should go, and how we should bring in some grants for so that we can beautify our town. And again, thirdly, I would see if someone, because we have a lot of Hispanic people here, I would like to bring someone in that's bilingual, that will be able to speak with the Hispanic community, as well as be able to talk to the people that, okay.
Okay. Patricia?
Well, again, with sitting down at the table, everybody agreeing to agree to disagree upon the times that we need to. My biggest desire at this time is to continue to bring forth youth programs that we desperately need within the town of Fairmount Heights. When I say that, I don't mean for our kids to have to go to Sea Pleasant Community Center or Cedar Heights Community Center. They need to be able to walk safely within their own town. I would also like to expand on the grant writing to expand our police department. Safety is first and foremost the most important thing to our citizens. And I'm not going to say that we're going to be safe from all things, but I think the biggest effort on making us as safe as possible should be done. I'd like to market us. When I talk about my town,
Completed.
when I talk about my town, people say, where are you? And when they begin to recognize where we are, I say, well, I'm right on the DC line. And then everybody begins to realize where we possibly are. So I really like to do a lot of marketing for Fairmount Heights to let people know that we're here and we're not going anywhere.
Okay, thank you. Patricia, number 2.
Within the first 90 days of during the month of June, the mayor and council is reviewing the budget, and so I would approach mayor and council to create or review a SWOT analysis of the town, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats overall for the community, which includes the budget and budget allocations. How can we allocate, the budget better, this year, moving forward in the coming fiscal year to reduce costs in terms of our Department of Public Works fleet, to clean the town up, to make curb appeal, create a strategic plan for the community, not just for a year, but for 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 years out, so that when there is an election, should we not be reelected, it's a succession plan. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And lastly, to go out to the community and not just expect people to come here to improve our constituent services and our engagement. That would be my first 3 priorities.
Okay. Stella?
In the first 90 days, I would like to, again, we are talking about the budget because that's something that we need to look at. I would want to make sure that we're allocating the budget line items, breaking it down so we'll know exactly what we're spending, where it's going. I want to make sure that our tax dollars are being spent well, because it's our community, it's our money. The second thing I would like to do would be to bring programs to the community, look at programs that we can bring to the community. We keep talking about grants. We live in an aged community where we have homes like mine that is 101 years old and some older. So we need to stop talking about the grants being here, but bring our citizens in so that they can learn how to use those grants, how it would benefit them. We want to have homeowners workshops, historic preservations, because there are grants for that. We want to look at the children and the safety. Okay.
Complete your sentence.
You know, we have problems in our communities with cars speeding through. We need to look at the safety of that. Speed bumps, road improvements, policing. So those are the things we also need to look at when we look at these things. Thank you.
Okay, Lily?
Yes, I would like to look at our economic development priorities and those that we've been talking about this evening, mainly going back to that Sheriff Road corridor issue. And I've made some major contacts just from last week when I was away at a conference, and have some direct people that are willing to work with us on those projects. We need a good core working group, and we need our citizens involved also. Number two, I would like to have a major retreat for the mayor and the council, because we have some healing that needs to be done. And the more we can sit down and approach and talk about it and try to get people to comply, I think the better all things will be as a whole. Because moving forward, if you don't have that healing and people don't have that concept of getting along, things never pan out the way they should. So the last item is community outreach. A lot of the programs that we've started, just like 2 weeks ago, we had the credit repair workshop, which was very good information for all of our community and ways that people can use personally to help them develop their lifestyles and plans. So anything that's going to benefit us as a whole, I want to address that in our first 90 days.
Okay. I'm going to pause and go back, because one of the things I did not do was have you to do your opening statement. So I'm going to start using your first and your last name, and we're going to do your opening statements now. So let's start with Patricia Waiters.
Okay. I asked myself a question, you know, why am I running? I'm running because I believe in the community's investment in our community, initially, you know, homeowners. For the past 2 years, we've not seen much movement in terms of deliverables and economic development. So I'm running to ensure that the return on investment, property values, and economic investment. Our streets are in dire need of repair. We do need speed bumps. Trash and debris and blight, you know, along the curves, they need to be cleaned. We continue to pour money into an aged fleet of Department of Public Works vehicles. The trash truck keeps breaking down. We keep pouring money into it. And 2 years ago, the citizens voted to purchase a new truck. So that's, you know, an ongoing problem. Moreover, there's not a strategic plan in place for our community, and that concerns me. I believe that's something that should be a #1 priority. We have 4.4 acres of land that we spent $20,000 to have clean. There was a project that was back in the 90s, I believe. There was a project that was for that that was identified for that property, and it failed. And so here we were again, you know, with debris and trash that was being dumped on that property. It was cleaned, it wasn't fenced off and secured. There's still no plan for the property, and it's a viable, very large parcel of land that kind of sort of faces the main street that we keep talking about. I also think that it's just time for change. Again, we need to take a look at the community as a whole and find out how to move the community forward. We have economic development going on all around us, and we don't have a sound plan to move the community forward. And so that's why I'm running.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will have Stella Hargrove.
Okay, my name is Stella Hargrove, and I'm running for mayor. Unlike many of the other members here, I wasn't born and raised in this community. I migrated to this community. And again, my heart is that historic preservation part. So that drew me to this community, seeing the location of the community, the vision that can come into this community. That's what made me come here. So I ask that you not judge me on my short 6 years of being here, but I would like you to ask you to judge me on the work that I've done since I've been here, through historic preservation, the Energy Assistance Program, Habitat for Humanity, working with the veterans, another heart. I'm a veteran. and they are number one, bringing the programs for the veterans, helping them with getting their benefits if they don't have that, letting them know where they can go and get the help. Also with the children, last year I started a 4-H club, and we took the kids to Miller's Farm and to the Capitol. And once they went to the Capitol, they did a program that they did here where they had to do a report, and they did it here in the open session, and they really enjoyed that. Also with the Green Team, things that we have in this community that we're trying to bring to this community, healthy eating, working with Councilmember with Dotson with Power to the Heights, things that we have that we can bring together, and working with the council, working council, I think that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Lily Thompson Martin.
Yes. Good evening, neighbors and friends of our town of Fairmount Heights, Maryland. As I enter this race for mayor of our town, I humbly submit my pledge to serve every citizen of our town equally. I approach with the we, not I element of service to be carried throughout my term. I have been the leader of our mayor and town council form of government for many years and can happily attest to doing all that's possible to make Fairmount Heights a place we can all thrive in and be proud of. As I put in my daily work hours here, I am forever mindful that I was elected by the residents of Fairmount Heights and govern myself accordingly to that obligation. For the last 2 years, regardless of my council working group or any internal issues, I have stayed the course. The desires expressed during our last election cycle were basically well met, and the council was included in every transaction. 2 of our giant items of desire were the purchase of a new trash truck and development of our 4.4 acres of land on Sheriff Road. The trash truck purchase is in the works with 2 of our delegates and our senator, so that this upcoming session, hopefully our bond will be approved and can be presented. We have also received dedicated contact from the governor's office concerning the Sheriff Road land development. A meeting with the governor's office is scheduled within the next few weeks, since they have expressed a real desire to do something major to help Fairmount Heights. A meeting with our Senator Benson is scheduled for the 2nd week in May for her review and an offer of concrete help for the town of Fairmount Heights. Our bond bill project that produced a new roof is completed with an extra drainage system that will be durable and last for many years. Through my attendance at the African American Mayors Conference in Houston, I was referred to the Urban Land Institute for exclusive help for the process needed for our Sheriff Road development project. And I'm going to stop right there. I have a few more pages, but I'll stop.
Thank you. Ronald Dean Cooks.
Good. I prefer to be called Dean Cooks. That's my middle name.
Okay.
That's why I put it on there, but somebody put Ronald up there. A lot of people don't know who Ronald is.
Oh, okay.
But Dean Cooks, and I'd just like to say that I'm running for the council again, and it's like a return to the office because I feel like I have much more to offer. And as the mayor was speaking about the roof, I was instrumental in helping to get that roof put up there, and we've been a while trying to get it done. We had the grant, but for whatever reasons, we weren't able to get it done. Well, through us working together and my pushing it a little bit, we were able to get that roof on, and I was thankful for that. That was last year, and now we don't have any leaks anymore. Thankful for that. But I still say that we have got to get in on this, and I'm going to make it real brief, so you won't have to stop me, that the bottom line is the way to really getting out of a financial bond has got to be annexation. And you look at Glen Arden, you look at Seat Pleasant, and other municipalities, look what they've done. It's just been amazing. Fairmount Heights can do the same. And I would like to say that we should be trying to save our school. That was one of the first black schools that went so far in education. And that's one of the things I like to see done. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Glenn Morris.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Glenn Morris, and I'm running for town council. As I said before, my plight here started when I moved back to Fairmount Heights and saw the condition of the town. And talking with the county representatives and lawyers and everything to fix my situation on my street where I moved back to, they told me before I got a lawyer and sued the town to be a part of the town council, to join and run for office, to make somebody lose their seat who hasn't done what they were supposed to do before I got a lawyer. In saying that, I say that my passion is this town. I've lived here more than 46 years of my life. I'm a fourth generation resident. I live in my great-grandfather's house that was built back in 1908. So I have seen what this town can be and what it has to offer. I know that it's a gem. I know that it's a historically black community. And if we're going to keep it that way, we have to get this town tightened up and straight. Thank you.
Okay. Alicia Saunders.
Yes, hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Saunders, and I am a 20-year resident of Fairmount Heights. This was a dream home of mine because I wanted my first home to be in a community that I felt was good. And everything that I saw about this community when I did the walk around was very beautiful. And I decided to move into the home where I had my daughter and my son, and I just knew everything was going to be okay, and my husband, of course. And the reason why I chose to be a council person was because, again, like I said, my husband asked me, and some of the community people asked me, if I wasn't going to be part of the solution, then stop talking about the problems. So I became part of the solution, and I ran, and I got in, and I did a lot of work. I was on the economic development team where we have 7 new houses coming shortly. I was on that team, and I would love to come back to see it come to fruition. And I also started the Poop and Scoop, and we see all the pooper scooper things around here, and that's something that I helped bring to fruition. I also had the domestic violence program, and that's my heart. And not only that, the youth. I would like to see the youth.
Complete your
Okay. I would like to see things done with the youth in the community. I would like to be a part of that.
Okay. Patricia Yukondu Owaka?
Close.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Patricia Yukondu Owaka, and as stated earlier, I made it an investment to come to Fairmount Heights. I was raised in Lincoln Heights, and to come to Fairmount Heights was a treat. We would come over and visit the stores. My dad would get his haircut. We would come to the cleaners. And before the Ebony Inn became what it is today, we would even have a dinner there. And being a wife of a retired military person, I've always done service. And as I stated, I did have a problem when I first came here. And so I got involved. I got involved as far as the Civic Association with Fairmount Heights. I was a member of the Board of Election at one point. And the biggest thing that I always and will always still have the desire to do is to bring some type of permanent activity and structure for the youth of Fairmount Heights. Now, again, everybody says, well, we can go here, we can go there, but Nobody thinks about the fact that they have to walk down Addison Road, which is a busy highway, fruitway, to get to Sea Pleasant. Nobody thinks about the fact that they have to walk up Sheriff Road to get to Cedar Heights. So if they're able to just come around the corner and go to somewhere where they can have after-school activities, basketball, cheerleading, whatever the case may be, that's what I intend to bring to Fairmount Heights upon being reelected.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question. What do you think you can do different that has not already been done? And along with that, tell us about 4 new businesses that you would like to see brought to Fairmount Heights. That's going to start with Glenn Morris.
Okay. Repeat the question one time, please.
Okay, I'll repeat the question. What do you think you can do differently that has not already been done? And along with that, name 4 new businesses that you would like to see brought to Fairmount Heights.
What I can do differently is that I am a printer by trade. I would like to see a newsletter go out to all the residents of the town of Fairmount Heights, letting them know everything that's going on. The minutes of the meeting would be put in there. Right now, we currently have a minute system that is inadequate and does not give the residents any information about the meetings that take place. So I would like to see the minutes put into the newsletter and sent out on a monthly basis. As far as the businesses that I'd like to see maybe a restaurant, something where we can take our family and sit down and have a meal without worrying about the people racing up and down the streets and the crime and everybody crossing over from DC.
Okay.
I would also like to see a bank. We could have a bank that our residents can go to safely. I would like to see stores where people can go and shop and don't have to drive through other cities to get to. Thank you.
Thank you. Elisha Saunders?
Yes. Hi. I am a educator. I'm a retired educator. So I would really love to see something for the youth, like a after-school hour where they would be able to do homework, work on projects, work on reading if they need help. I would like to see us to get grants here for the computers to be installed so the kids could come not just to the library, but also they could come here. I would love to see a restaurant, a dry cleaners that's ours, and I would love to see a shopping center where we could go shopping, like a grocery store, a Family Dollar, even a bank, even someone said that they would like to see a doggy park when I was talking to the resident.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Patricia Yukandu Owaka.
You're getting there. You're getting there. I would like to see what we need most of all. We need a post office. Our own post office. Again, as with former Councilwoman Saunders, a grocery store. What I would do different, I would learn how to lobby a little bit better my council members on my beliefs and the programs that I want to see come to fruition. I would also do better about making the citizens more inclusive and bringing them closer into with our committees and listening a little bit more to what they have to say.
Okay. Patricia Waters?
Waiters. Waiters.
Waiters, I'm sorry.
It's okay. What I would do different, what I'd like to see would be different, would be a partnership with the District of Columbia and our corridor along at Eastern Avenue to be aware of what's going on the district side so that we can plan accordingly on our side, as well as a portion of Eastern Avenue belongs to Seat Pleasant as well. We talk about annexation, and that will be a part of, the whole entire effort. If we do annex in that area, it's still Eastern Avenue that goes all the way out to Deanwood. So that we could plan our economic development based on, things that are not really repeating what's already happening, but we could be a part of what's already happening. I would like to see a form of health care in our community. I would like to see us be a walking community wherein we know one another like we used to, or maybe even better. And I would also like to improve maybe assistant living, but I more importantly we refer to ourselves as an African American community. We're no longer that. We have a mixed community now, and so we need to create communication efforts.
Okay, thank you. Stella Hargrove.
What I would do differently is build on the relationships and the partnerships that I already have with our surrounding communities, with our senators, delegates, and council members that we've talked to, getting our council members involved in those meetings and letting them know what's going on, bringing that information back to our community so that they would know and have a chance to have a say, have a stakeholders meeting, letting them know what's going on. The things that I would like to see, we have 4.4 acres. I would like to have a mixed use there, have condos. I would like to have a community center, a coffee shop, where we can go, sit down, talk, and mingle. The community center where we can have our kids go there and play safely. A place for our seniors to come and meet and, sit and, talk and their fashion show just came to my mind, let them have a fashion show. I would like to see a credit union in that community center. I would also like to see an enrichment program for our kids. And she just threw my mind off with the 15 seconds. But those are the things that I would like to see. And I think we could have those things because of the relationships that we are building. Thank you very much.
Lily Thompson Martin.
Yeah, I think what I could do differently is possibly to pull in a group, say an additional group that would work along with the mayor and the council so that we could accomplish some of the things that I have listed here. First thing I have is a grocery store, and because of the fact that we're a food desert, we have a real need for a grocery store, and as of July, Shoppers Food Warehouse is going to be gone, and I think it might be replaced basically with Giant. So, the prices are going to be much higher buying from Giant than what we've been accustomed to purchasing. So I think that would be a number one great item, a grocery store. And I have listed here a drugstore, which would be a CVS, it could be Walgreens, anything that could service the community, because as it is now, we have to go to Martin Luther King. There are a couple of CVS's on Martin Luther King, as a matter of fact, 3. But that's one thing I can see as being beneficial. Cleaners, because we don't have any convenient cleaners, and a bank, because my bank is like 4 or 5 miles away. And it seems like there are only a small number within our location, so we need items like that extremely bad.
Okay. Dean Cook.
Well, I guess they kind of stole my thunder, but I'm going to say it one time and I'm going to say it again. We need to expand. All these things are great, what you're talking about in terms of grocery store and this, but you're gonna have to acquire some property from somewhere. Right now, if you go to the town and take a look at what's going on, try to see can you fit a grocery store in there, fit something else in there. We don't have the space. So what I'm saying is we need to definitely look at that seriously of expanding. And that's what we have to have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I've heard on numerous comments as it relates to budget and dollars. So this question is going to be directed about the budget. In order to meet the needs of the community, how would you restructure the budget to accommodate some new items for Fairmount Heights? That question, start with Stella.
I would look at the income that we have coming in, and I would, again, the way that our budget is set up now, I would go deeper into that budget and set up line items for that. I would look at the revenue that we can bring in. Again, going back to the 45 vacant homes, a lot of them are in terrible shape. We have vacant lots that the owners, realtors, real estate agents are not taken care of. We need to keep those clean and make them, put their foot to the fire to make them do the things that they are supposed to do. And if they don't do those things, fine them. And when I say dig into that budget and the line items, if there is funds coming in for highway user fund, they need to go in that pot for highway user fund. If there is a grant coming in for the PEG grant, they need to go in there. Because if we don't have that line item like that, and we just have a pile of money sitting there, we really don't know where it's going to. And we need to know that, and the citizens deserve to know where that money is going.
Okay, thank you. Lily Thompson Martin?
Yes. I think we're probably going to have to revisit our budget and see where there are gaps as far as where we could possibly have fines that are greater or increase, our revenue. We just have the real estate revenue, so that limits what we can do. Our businesses are very limited. If we were to accomplish some of the items that we talked about as far as those stores, when we were talking about the economic development sector, that would be one method of pulling in some revenue also. So another thing too, as more homes are built, then we will get the revenue that comes from the real estate taxes and the income tax. So that's one way. We're gonna have to try different methods because it's no easy task.
Thank you. Dean Cooks?
I'm thinking we're going to have to, either way we look at it, the town's going to have to come up on ways to expand. And if that's not done, we can talk all night. We don't figure that problem out. We're not going to have anywhere to put anything. All of these things are well and good. We need them. But where are you going to put them? Where are you going to get the land? And that's the most important thing, I think. And also look at how we're spending our money. Mm-hmm. That's all. We have to do that. Thank you.
Glenn Morris?
Can you rephrase the first part of that question again?
Okay. The question is, due to the fact that there are a lot of questions relating to the budget, the question asked is, how do you plan to restructure the budget so that you can accommodate those things that are needed for Fairmount Heights?
All right, so coming into this situation, I don't know a lot about the Fairmount Heights budget, but as a manager, what I would do is, again, call the full audit to find out where our money is, where it's been going, and how much we actually have on hand. And then create line item budgets where you're not spending money just out of a general pot, not knowing where the rest of the money's coming in or when. A lot of the questions that I've heard answered in some of the meetings that I've attended have gone unanswered. So this past administration has not done a good job at transparency in showing that information to the town residents. The town residents barely know how their taxes are assembled. They don't know until you get with a real estate agent and you pull up that form that shows the county tax and the local tax. Again, you have to know where your money is coming in from. And right now, this administration does not. Thank you.
Elisha Saunders?
Yes, can you say the whole question again?
The question is, lots of discussion was centered around, lots of questions were centered around the budget in terms of what are you going to do in terms of revenue for the budget? So the question is, how do you plan to restructure your budget so that you can accommodate the needs in Fairmount Heights?
Okay. First, I would go line by line and see where all the money is going. And the money that's not being spent, we need to move that money somewhere else where it is needed so that it can be spent, and so it can be spent wisely. And we also need to I lost my train of thought. But yeah.
Okay.
But go through it line by line to see where the money's being spent.
Okay. Patricia Yukondo Wak.
I basically agree with my colleagues here, whereas that we are actually working, trying to develop a better budget by going line by line. But I myself would like to not always have to rely on our tax base. I think that we should develop other avenues to become more self-sufficient. This building can be utilized in so many different ways to benefit the people of this community and generate revenue. And I've been pushing, and I will continue to push to be able to utilize this building in other ways of raising revenue, whereas that we will not have to just count on a grant that we possibly could get or our tax base.
Okay, thank you. Patricia Waiters.
One of the things that we lack in terms of the budget and the budget structure is the understanding of capital improvement projects, defining capital improvement projects, the difference in operational budget and project budget. One thing that we don't do is when we prepare for the budget, we don't visit the different departments within our organization to find out what their projected expenses are, and that would allow you to create a budget for that department. So if you ask for a certain amount within a fiscal year, at the end of that year, what I have learned is if at the end of the year you ask for a certain amount and you don't spend it, you don't get that again. And so a way of not recycling the same amount on the budget line, for instance, we have a scholarship fund that was not awarded this year, to my knowledge. So, okay, I just said to my knowledge, I'm sorry. So I'll use another example. I'm just saying one line item that has not been spent is the point. If it has not been expensed, we should not allocate that line item again without a better plan or some spending being identified, another allocation.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The next question. If you had to write legislation to make improvements in Fairmount Heights, what legislation would you write? I'm going to direct that question to Elisha Saunders. If you had to write legislation to make improvements to Fairmount Heights, what legislation would you write? If you need an example, let me know.
Yes.
Okay. Example would be, you hear about safe driving, and they make legislation so that people who are drunk drivers have stronger penalties, or let's say if you wanted to write legislation for abused women, what legislation would you write?
I would write a legislation, good example, for abused women, that there would be able to be a safe house for them to go to when the abuser abuses them, and they would have code names to go by so no one will know where they were. Also, for children, I would have a legislation for the children, for them to be able to, if they were lost, that they would be able to have the fingerprinting done in the community so that people would know what to look for, and it be on our channel, what to look for and how to find them. I mean, what to look for and how, you know, what their name is, their height, their weight, and all that stuff is. I would legislate that.
Okay, thank you. Patricia Ukandu Walker?
Okay. My legislation would stand around the youth as far as protection. Pedophilia is a really sickening, gut-wrenching problem with me. And I would write legislation whereas that there will be no repeat offender for pedophilia. When you're locked up, you're there, and you're not getting back on the streets.
Okay. Patricia Waiters?
I would write legislation for improved traffic patterns, speed bumps, you know, clearer signs that would control the traffic patterns. I think that we need to get better control of the traffic on Addison Road where there are blind spots throughout the community. I live at an intersection where the youth and some of the smaller kids ride bicycles and they can't see around different blind spots. I would also write legislation to improve our code enforcement, to improve the blight and the trash, and get rid of or eliminate the limit the vacant properties and the vacant lots.
Okay. Stella Hargrove?
Okay, the legislation I would write would be to limit the amount of junkyards we have in our community. We have a few junkyards in our community that, and some that aren't, that are just across the street, who come over to our community, that makes our community look bad. The other one would be, again, I would write legislation for safer streets. We do need bigger stop signs. We need speed regulations. We need speed bumps. Just a few weeks ago, on 58th and Lee Street, you know, a little kid was riding a bike and a car was coming, and he almost got hit by that car. And that was something that we talked to him about, and, you know, this is what we need to do. I would also write legislation to limit the blighted homes in this community. We would have to, if you're going to have a blighted home, you need to take care of it. I'm going to try to get to this. The other part would be for historic preservations. Because of our rich history in this community, I don't want to lose that. So if the new homes are coming in, you can have a new home, but if you're on a street where it is a historic property, we want to kind of keep it to look that way. So that's all I have time for.
Okay. Lily Thompson Martin?
Yes, I would write legislation definitely that would be directed to the abandoned and blighted properties that continue to accumulate, and for people who live out of town that really don't pay attention and keep their properties up. I think the fines must be increased so that we can have a neighborhood that looks more like what we want our community to look. That would be my first area of focus. I think that would be very important that we could get that accomplished.
Okay.
As a start.
Thank you. Dean Cooks?
Okay. First legislation would be to write legislation that would increase the amount of assistance that we're giving to our seniors in terms of helping them with nutrition and things like that. We don't have our own grocery store. As I said, we don't have property space to put the property to even build it on. But in addition to that, I think that our children, we have space here that we could use, and we may probably not utilize it the best we could. And somebody said that our best currency is education. That is the source of what we have, because that's the future, and they're the children. Thank you.
Thank you. Glenn Morris?
I would write legislation to either hire full-time police officers for the town of Fairmount Heights or get rid of the police department. I would have them staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that there's never a time when we have to call Prince George's County Police to come in and police our town business. The police being full-time would be charged with making sure that people that ride through our town maintain, the right thing when they're riding through our town. New residents, when they come in, would have to change their tags within 30 days or 60 days, whatever the law may be. The other legislation I would write will probably irritate everybody on this stage, but I would not let our leaders run for more than 2 terms, because a politician, while they may run more than 2 and 3 terms, are not judged by how many times they win. They're going to be judged by what they do when in office. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Why don't we give our candidates a round of applause? Okay, we're getting to our closing statement. So let's start the closing statement with Mr. Glenn Morris.
All right. In closing, I ask for your vote. I ask you to put your trust and faith in me that I will do what I say I'm going to do. As a first-time runner of this council, I am eager to get in here and help bring this town back to what I remember when I was a child. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Alicia Saunders.
Yes, again, I would love for you to vote for me, because I love this town and I'm eager to come in with both feet running, doing the things that I had in place before, and anything that is different I'm willing to do. And I would like your vote also because I loved being a council person, and I loved being able to help the town and help our community. That's what I love.
Thank you. Ms. Patricia Yukano Waka.
Okay. Again, I'm going to ask for your vote. There are so many things that I've started that I'd like to continue and finish. I am a person of service, and at any time, anything needed, for whatever the case may be, I will be there for you if you need me. I will do my best to keep us as credible and as sustainable as we possibly can be.
Thank you. Ms. Patricia Waiters.
I have served as mayor and I've served as council person. I came back to serve as a council person as well, again, because I believe that the services or those activities or whatever I was involved in, I delivered on them, so I'd like to continue. I'm very passionate about my community and the economic development potential that we do have. I'm passionate about the investment that our homeowners and those that are yet coming either have made in our community or that will make in our community. I would like to see our community grow, and I know that we can do better. I would like to see the community, have more of an eye appeal, again, a walking community where, we're all safe and that we're all involved one with another, and that we have the services, more importantly, the services that are needed, for constituents.
Thank you. Ms. Stella Hargrove.
I didn't prepare a closing statement, but I would like to say to everyone, thank you for coming out. Thank you for giving us your support. I also would like to say that I am running for mayor. I ask for your vote. The council members and I have talked. There are a lot of things that we have planned, a lot of things that we would like to see that would improve the community, that would improve your lifestyle here. And I would like to ask you to give me that chance to work with the council members and move that forward. Thank you.
Ms. Lily Thompson Martin.
Yes. My time spent here in the town of Fairmount Heights has always been about giving, supporting, and improving our beloved community with our available resources. Much has been done, and much remains to be done. The ultimate decision lies in the hands of the citizens of the town of Fairmount Heights. Every good leader follows someone. God bless, and let's get out to vote on May 6th.
Mr. Dean Cooks.
Well, First of all, I'd like to ask for your support. And the support you give me will be for us. There's no big I's and little U's. I will work as hard as I can to make Fairmount Heights a better place to live, work, and play. And as I said, I've done it in the past, and I can continue to move forward and work with whomever we get on the council and the mayor to do the best we can for the town of Fairmount Heights to move forward. Thank you very much. God bless Fairmount Heights.
Let's give our audience a big round of applause. They were so attentive. Wow. A great-looking audience. I'd like to also recognize the election board for doing a great job. Yes, the election board. Great.
Come out and
Come out.
recognize, show yourself.
Yes, there it is.
Thank you. I'd also, again, like to recognize Ms. Paulette Fox Dawudu for being our timekeeper. And I'd like to thank each of you as candidates individually and collectively, because I think you all have great ideas, and whether you win or lose, I hope you will still stay in and help Fairmount Heights to grow to be the town that you want it to be. Without your help, the other leaders can't do it all by themselves, so you need all of you. And I just love your new school.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So I look forward to seeing great things from Fairmount Heights, and I will not go away. This candidate forum has ended.
Thank you. Thank you.